Here's why you might never become a pilot. I recently met a guy, let's call him Josh. And Josh, he wanted to become a pilot really bad. In fact, he's got over 100 hours of flying time and he doesn't even have his private pilot's license yet. And just for context, you just need between 40 to 60 hours to get your private pilot's license. But he's got over 100 hours and he still doesn't have his license. But Josh, he ends up really doing the other parts of flying that are not even that important. For example, you'll see him always buying model airplanes. You can see him flying his flight simulator at home, but I'm sure he's doing it the wrong way. He's also posting online everywhere that he's a pilot and probably telling his friends and family. Those things are just the image of being a pilot. It has nothing to do with the actual studying that's involved in actually being a pilot. Being a pilot initially is very hard because it's something that's completely different from what you're used to. It's not like driving a car where you just go front and back and maybe you go off to the side at an angle. But being a pilot, you have to actually have other forces that are experienced that you're not used to, such as turning the airplane, G-forces, etc. So those things take a lot of practice and you must be consistent with that in the airplane. As well as Josh, doesn't really take his flying seriously. He just shows up really late for all his flights. This is what he told me. He shows up right when the flight starts, maybe a couple of minutes before, which is actually considered late. You want to show up at least an hour prior to any of your training flights, at least. And he doesn't really study that much. Anytime you ask him why didn't he study for that flight that day or his exams, he actually says that, he was working really hard, he's too busy. And I get it, but unfortunately, that doesn't really help him. So he ended up taking maybe over double the time it takes to get his licenses. And not only that, Josh actually failed his written exam a whole bunch of times. And he's asking me for my help. And before I take on any students, I like to screen them and find out exactly what went wrong. And just by talking to Josh, I know that, he needs a lot of discipline, a lot of, preparation. It'll probably be better for him to just take some time off work and maybe take a leave of absence and then actually calm down, have no stress and no fatigue, and then spend that time really, really preparing for his exams. So that's my one tip to you. If you really want to excel in this career quickly, especially if you don't want to waste any money, make sure you take some time off. Don't be working 7 days a week, maybe go down to part-time hours. I know it's expensive, flight training, but at the end of the day, if you want to save money, you have to fly consistently every single week. Hope that helps.